Hey everyone, welcome to the Good News Podcast. And today we're jumping into part 2 with Danny Wright, Living in Inspiration. And if you didn't check out last week's, by all means, go back and check that out. But you don't have to have that on your belt to get this one. We're just going to enter into what the experience is like to be inspired. Not just talk about inspiration, but actually experience it. A little different from our normal interview, normal conversation, normal routine, but it's good. We got a table in front of us, and we're looking at quotes, and we're looking at pictures, and we're talking about how we're inspired by these things. And so, yeah, get ready, fasten your seatbelt. We're going to be inspired, I think, by this one, and glad you can be a part of it. Let's dive in.
Funny, I could go, like you just said, you'd go on all these different sunrises, sunsets, the moon, talking about the people that we share those moments with, nature in general, animals, some people look at a coyote, think of a coyote as a nuisance. I see them out in the field,
Nice.
I guess I got to show it this way, right?
Yeah.
It's cool, like this soul coyote wandering around. Okay, bald eagles. Can I share about that briefly? Sure. Bald eagles. I have so many pictures of bald eagles over the years, and especially the last few years. Thornbury, Stainer, Collingwood, Point of Barrel. So I'll show you. Here's one. We're just driving down a road towards Aurelia. Here's a few more in there. I got a doozy here somewhere. Snowy owl. Those guys. That was one of my favorites. That's just right in Collingwood. And I'll show this one here because he flew right over me. This one here, everybody was like up in the cottage saying, Danny's kind of obsessed with these things. He sat out on the dock all day. So it sounds like maybe I'm a little bit like your aunt. I'm determined. I'm seeing,
That's awesome.
I could spend all day out there. But on the eagles. So one of her sisters, has seen an eagle twice. And she told me at the time, I was telling her a story. I said, can you believe it? I sent a bunch of these pictures. So you can see like on the camera, I would sent a bunch of these pictures to my boss. And he texted back, where are you? And I told him where, just north of Parry Sound. And he said, there's no bald eagles in Ontario. And I was teasing him. I was like, you think they stop him at the border? But I was telling her and kind of making fun of him. Yeah. And she said, I honestly thought the same thing. I didn't think there was bald eagles in Canada, certainly not Ontario. And she goes, I've seen them twice, both times with you. So she goes, I think you're kind of like an eagle whisperer. Of course, I love that. Yes, I am. I whisper to the eagles.
That's why they're Ontario.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. But I don't think it's anything to do with that, although I'd love to say that.
Sure, yeah.
The truth is, I think I'm just looking for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like what this is saying, I'm always looking for them. I'm looking up at the sky. I'm looking into the forest.
It's
there's
cool.
Something about that. And I think it's about that revealing itself to us. The more I'm seeking that, the
absolutely,
we attract it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
There's something to that, isn't there?
No, there's so much beauty around, and it's just living in inspiration helps us be aware of that and see it. That's awesome, and I love sharing it with others. Hopefully, others are thinking about their own pictures and stories and memories of some of these things as well. Yeah, let's shift gears.
Yeah,
because pictures, songs, like inspiration can come anywhere. God's bigger than everything, and so it makes sense that inspiration can come so many different ways. But especially through you are very good with words, and love the writing that you do, Danny, and just the way you support others through your writings, and partly because I think you're a student of inspiration, and one of the ways that I see you doing that is through quotes, and sometimes they're things that you've expressed and are very much worthy of continuing to share with others and hone in on yourself what they mean. Sometimes there's things you find in other places. So love to take some time to kind of just have some fun with some of these amazing quotes.
All right.
Okay. Let's start with this one. Let every heart prepare him room. People might recognize that from a song. It's a Christmas song. It's a Christmas carol. Yeah. Let every heart prepare him room. Joy to the world. Yeah.
That was another one of those moments, right?
Yeah.
That was a moment where kind of locked in.
Yeah.
We had been speaking about this.
Yeah.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. We were at was it Christmas Eve?
I think it
service,
was. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm standing there with my family, and when this line got sung, it hit me like it had never hit me before.
Yeah.
And I remember I looked at you, and you were looking at me.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and I wasn't looking for you. I just happened to look, and our eyes kind of locked at that very moment.
Yeah,
right?
it was cool.
Oh, for sure. I'll never forget it.
It was almost telepathic. It's one of those moments where you're like, there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Something greater than just your
Absolutely.
usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To this day, I've never been able to sing that song without thinking of that moment.
Yeah, right.
Every time. Every time.
Awesome,
and especially that line, obviously. And, backstory to that, like you'd been through a lot that year, and you really had opened up yourself to exploring your faith in a new way, and had come to a very different place. And and I always, it makes me also think of others every time we sing that at Christmas time, is who's here tonight? Who's the Danny Wright that's here tonight? You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Who's come through whatever they've had to come through over the course of this past year, and they're here open in a new way, and their heart is wide open to receiving this love from God that we celebrate has come at Christmas time. Yeah.
100%. And when I think back to the whole idea of interpretation, where someone would tell you, this is what this means, words on a paper or a song lyric. This is what the writer intended, or this is what this means. And I'm more of I like the idea of, well, maybe that's what they meant.
Yeah.
But it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, for sure.
What I hear, what I heard in that moment, a light went on for me that no amount of studying, I guess self-knowledge, it was that the key was at a heart level, was to experience it, to feel it.
Absolutely.
But back to what we were saying earlier, the whole idea of, when you're living in your head and there's things blocking you, that is what it means to me now. When I think about that right now, I think about my work. How do I prepare room? Is to work on the things that are blocking me from receiving. I got to make room. Yeah. How do I fill up my cup, or fill up with love, with, at a heart level, fill up with God?
Yeah.
If, pride and envy and all these other little
grudges and these things that can just block us.
Judgment and that stuff there.
Fear, worry.
Yes. I can't necessarily just pray that away. For me anyway, I have to be aware of it. I got to take an honest look at it and recognize, like, man, I was feeling a little envious there.
Yeah.
And that fear was driving me a little bit, rather than, say, love guiding me.
Yeah.
So what do I need to do? Prepare a room, make a little room, clear that crap out of the basement, or the garage, however you want, whatever analogy you want to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a little room.
Absolutely. But, it's funny, like, you say, whatever that song might have been intended for, here's how I experienced it and just how important that is. My experience has been that really is the work of the Holy Spirit. So for instance, even on a Sunday morning, I may communicate a message, and I can't tell how many times this happens. Someone will say, "Oh, thank you, I loved when you said that," and I'm thinking, I don't think I said that.
Wow.
Right? But the Holy Spirit worked in their life to find something that was really necessary and significant, even if that wasn't exactly what I thought 100%. I said, or anyway, it's kind of cool. Like, again, that also frees us up to. Yeah, well, God's at work beyond us, and sometimes in spite of us, and that's great.
And isn't that interesting you say that? Like, so even something like this, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to do a good job, that I wouldn't watch it back and say, oh, what was I even talking about there? Or that part where I'm stammering and stuttering, or I lost my thought, or all that, and I could critique myself, just what you were talking about earlier. I'm taking it personal. I'm more wrapped up in how I'm presenting myself, let's say, rather than somebody hears what they need to hear. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't mean you don't prepare and do your best and all those things.
Try my best, but I also ask
there's a freedom
to be used.
I'm
an instrument, use me. And
absolutely.
The only thing that gets in the way is me.
That's great.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, there's one. I want to go through all of these, but being real is more important than appearing good. And I think this is something that I've seen in you and heard from you this is part of who you are, eh?
It
Like
is,
this one, yeah.
man.
So yeah. That's what's all that all about.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think too
Yeah,
on that.
for sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've all
yeah,
say things
yeah,
like just keeping it real, man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean,
Absolutely,
it's a
absolutely.
part of our. It's just a part of our. I
Yeah,
don't know if you say our culture or it's
yeah,
in the. It's just out there,
yeah,
keeping it real.
yeah.
But for me, paying attention to words, every word matters to me there. So being real, what I love, the thing that jumps out for me is it's more important than appearing good.
Yeah.
So it's not even about being good. It's about, for me anyway, there's a few layers, but one, the mask I wear,
Yeah.
who I'm pretending to be, who I'm, and I think we do it 24/7. I don't think we ever are 100%. You say I'm authentic. Take this as me as I am. Am I though? There's so many filters.
Yeah.
Everything's constantly going through. What is this person thinking? Will they like me? Am I got a little bit of an agenda I'd like to get across. That's unconscious. That's why I speak about conscious awareness or conscious contacts, because all that stuff's going on in my unconscious all the time. Don't you think? From childhood, all these
Absolutely.
things. So maybe I'm a little jaded. I'm a little bit prejudging, and that was kind of, I should take a step back. Where the root of this, the original root of or seed, whatever you want to call it, was my resentment. The church that I used to go to as a kid, I thought, everybody they've got the nice hats and dress nice, and then being judgmental myself, I'm judging their judgmentalness and them gossiping.
Sure.
And who's here and a little wave. Yeah, I'm here in the pews, that kind of stuff. And I think I've told you that before. I rebelled against that. So I now basically painted everyone who did that with the same brush. That's not for me, man. I'm going to keep it real. But looking back now, kind of growing through that, starting to spend some time with you after my dad passed away, and I was here all the time, and we were doing a lot of cool things together, and exploring different things. And this kind of became more alive, I would say, around that time. The whole idea of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, allowing ourselves to the best of our ability to get honest with ourselves, and therefore, be a little more honest with you and with others, and not hiding behind the appearance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not trying to pretend to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
And that is hard.
Yeah.
I think I think that's something we got to do try to do till the day we die.
Yeah.
Rinse, repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And I think on top of that too, the biggest reason we don't grow. If I gotta act like I got it all together here in this, I'm not growing.
Yeah.
And again, that's me trying to will something rather than letting God work through me. So not only am I denying myself an opportunity for growth, maybe I'm denying others around me that opportunity as well. If they were able to see me as I am, not who I'm pretending to be. Because what if somebody's struggling inside? They're comparing their insides to your outside, your edited essence of yourself, your projected kind of version, don't you think? So, I'm pretending or appearing a certain way. I got to appear like I got this together here in this environment. Man, I'm denying them an opportunity maybe for connection even. Just to say, I get it. I feel like that sometimes too.
Yeah.
Right?
And talk about pressure. Like if you are living, and we all can do it, like trying to appear good or a false whatever you're trying to put forward, that's a lot of pressure to try to live up to that, and I love it. Being real is more important than appearing good. I know, sometimes even my own relationship with God, I've had this happen before where I love to journal. Helps me stay awake while I pray because I love to move. And then anyway, lots of reasons, but I've had this many times before where I'm just kind of surfacing as I'm praying, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, it just hits me, and it's like God, I don't hear the words, but God speaking to me saying, like, who do you think you're fooling?
Yeah.
Who do you think you're fooling? I already know. Let's get real.
Right.
And I find it immediately goes to another level of depth. Like, here's how I'm really feeling. Here's what's bothering me. And I think sometimes, I think this, has been, as I talk to people, I think this has been a barrier for people to the Christian faith or the church because for lots of reasons, and fair enough, they've met people who call themselves Christians and who just have been mean and judgmental and these kinds of things. I mean, Bono says, I got no problem with Jesus. It's the people that follow him I got problems
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Right? I think sometimes that's true. And I would also want to, I can easily be one of those people because I'm human and not perfect. But I think there is something about being real that's really refreshing. I've had this many times over the years because I think I'm as real as they come, and sometimes I'll share some of those real stories. And I've had people come to me afterwards and say, "Oh, it's good to know that your life is as messed up as ours." But I think people, and I don't do that.
They find hope
I'm just
in
being
that.
real. But I think, and I forget who said it, but it's like the good things we do, they inspire people. But the real things, or even like the where we when we are vulnerable and name those places where maybe we failed or have not lived up to whatever, that's where we connect with people. And I think that, that's really true. And it's interesting as you think about the gospel, like it actually, I love Good Friday because we enter into the pain of the world. And I think a lot of people have experienced pain. Everybody experienced pain as part of the human condition, our human reality. And I think sometimes we almost misrepresent the gospel because we too quickly, and I can definitely be guilty of this, we too quickly go to the good news and the hope, which is very real, but we don't stay in the pain long enough, and we provide a disconnect for people because that's not my life. My life starts with pain. All of our, pretty much, if we're honest, I think, but again, the gospel of good news is God can bring us through and bring us to a place of hope, but it starts with the pain. And I mean, that's part of being real to me too. And that's what I love about Good Friday. It for me, it's not depressing at all. It's powerful. It's real,
It is.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Actually, that kind of ties in with this quote here.
Yeah.
God meets us where we are, not where we pretend to be. How is,
absolutely.
even if I'm asking you for help,
Yeah.
never mind in my prayer and asking God, if I can't be real in my prayers, God, here I am. I need help. I'm in pain.
Yeah.
There's no shortcut. I have to walk through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with our human connections. It's like, hey, James, here's what's going on.
Yeah.
Because we do, I think the majority of our life, we do run around. How you doing, man? Great. You?
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And that's, we're not going to change that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if actually, let me tell you, we never get anywhere.
Have you ever had that happen where
you're
someone
like,
does do that, which is great, but sometimes you're like,
But you're like this?
I was really hoping for a fine. I have to be careful when I ask people how you really doing.
Yeah, exactly,
but
right?
No, yeah.
But I think as long as we've got some people that we can keep it real with, like
exactly,
that I'm not
absolutely.
appearing, I'm not putting on a, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And we walk through it.
Yeah.
So I think we find some people that walk through it with us,
Mm-hmm.
but also I think that's, to me, what I would say even the foundation of my own faith.
Yeah.
Is that it's not like this genie in a bottle or waving a magic wand. It's more around walking through me, guiding me through, providing me some strength, some courage, some inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think often it's easy for people to think, okay, my life is hard, like really hard, cancer, relationship breakdown, whatever it might be, tragedy. So that must mean that God doesn't exist, and that's certainly not that just isn't real, and really try to encourage people to rethink that a little bit, because I read a book this past summer called Disappointed with God by Philip Yancey. And just really entered into the reality that we all experience suffering, and just that power of God being with us, and people choosing to see that. Talk about even kind of what we talked about last week, as far as the awareness and living in the moment and seeing the beauty, that even when we're in those places of pain, there still is beauty if we look, if we have the ability that God can give us to see that. And I know when we've been through some of the worst times in our life, those blessings around us were just as important as ever. In fact, even more important to be aware of them, whether it's a nurse that was just so beautifully doing her job and cared for us and led us through a tough time, or friends and neighbors and family members who kind of walk alongside, or just sometimes when you're going through a painful time, actually having a day that's really good. And sometimes you feel guilty about it, but then you realize, no, man, that was good. Like, I just give thanks to it. So yeah, it's
I got a buddy who refers to our relationship with each other, of our helping each other,
Yeah.
walking each other home, you know, all those types of that idea. He calls it, he's East Coast, come alongside you.
Yeah.
And it's so true, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, that's what I think what we want from each other,
Yeah.
someone to come alongside us, not, you know, preach down to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or give us the, you know, some kind of magical answer when there isn't one. I mean, we've probably all been in that situation too, or experienced it, where people just try to say things to make it better, and it's not always helpful.
No,
I remember a guy. He had a pretty dry sense of humor, and he lost his wife very suddenly and tragically. And he came up with this phrase when people would say things like, you know, time heals all wounds, or just trying to make him feel better, because, you know, they were trying, but you just can't do that. There's no magic words to take your pain away. You got to enter in with somebody, not, you know. So, but anyway, he would look at him and say, not helpful.
Would you actually say that?
Oh yeah, and he was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
I've always remembered that. Yeah.
Well, there's, you know, you ask how somebody's doing. There's a quick way to get on to your next conversation.
Yeah.
How you doing? You know, not helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Have a good day.
Yeah. He could pull it off.
Yeah.
He could pull it off. Okay.
Awesome.
So long as our decisions are based on fear, our capacity to grow is limited. So long as our decisions are based on fear, our capacity to grow is limited. This is another one of your quotes, Danny, that you've used, over the years, for sure.
This one came from Fearless Growth, when I was first kind of starting to explore the whole idea of love over fear, faith over fear. You know, I studied fear from the way it works in our brain, instinctive, all that kind of stuff, the way natural instincts. So fear is not a bad thing, obviously. You know, it alerts us to danger, all that. It's kind of funny when you read some of the things about where it centers in the brain and what kicks in a certain time, you know, where you puff up all these involuntary responses, your pupils dilating to take in more light, you know, the adrenaline pumping your muscles up. I remember reading what I thought was funny, that your top lip will go up. And I guess that's, again, part of our DNA goes
show your
back.
teeth.
Show your teeth, right?
Wow.
So you ever see me public speaking and all? You'll know. I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm just, you know, it's an involuntary response. I'm scared. But yeah, the whole idea around fear, obviously fear is good. It's God-given instinct. But when it's kind of this more of a self-driven fear, like what we were talking about earlier, it's it becomes more about me trying to will something rather than, like you said earlier, about spiritual guidance or, you know, the Spirit moving us. That was the whole idea. My capacity to grow is limited as far as my own resources will take me. So to the sports analogy earlier, my capacity to roll up my sleeves and go hard. Maybe you've got the gift of the gab and I can finesse the situation. All those things are good as far as they'll take you. But there's a limit. Right? Whereas the whole idea of trusting in love, being open to being guided by love, is infinite. You know?
For sure.
So to me, that's the whole idea, is if I truly want to grow, when I'm at a crossroads, or that moment where I ask for the God pause and I get a pause, that's, for me, put it to the love test. You know, if this is, as Paul describes it in Corinthians, love, then you'll know, you'll read it. You're like, if it's not love, it's kind of obvious. It's like, oh, that's Danny, you know? That's got Danny all over it, you know? Whereas it's like, so it makes it a little easier. It doesn't mean we always get it right, but it makes it a lot easier to navigate, you know, when you're at a crossroads, which way to go. Right? If I'm truly trusting love as my guide, I think we've talked about this every time we ever get together. I'm going to get where I need to go. Whereas on this path, oh man, I'm vulnerable to the elements, you know, to the waves of the ocean. Right.
For sure. You know, and I'm thinking that one of the opposites of love, because love helps you conquer the fear and enter into whatever it is that might help you grow. but the opposite of love is often pride, eh? You know,
Oh, no doubt.
right. And because I'm thinking of a situation where we were away with my family, my brother and his kids as well, and we were at some kind of event where they were looking for a volunteer to come up on the stage, and my first response was, "Oh my gosh, I wonder what it is. I don't want them to pick me because that could be really embarrassing." Pride, right?
Right.
You know?
Sure.
My niece, who's like 6, 7 years old, she puts up her hand, runs up on the stage, and I was like, she doesn't even know what it is yet,
Right.
But
She's
because
just in.
there was no fear, there was no pride. I'm good.
Yeah, right.
You're right. And just how often pride can be the underbelly of fear. That's not the opposite of feeling loved. You know, and how that can stop us from taking risks or chances or trying something new, gets us into shame and being embarrassed and those pride, like those kinds of things. But how to be free from that can really help us grow and try new things. And
Yeah, and don't you think so? It's even with all of those, it's almost navigating. So if it's like, what blanket or umbrella is it under? Fear or love?
Yeah.
So whether it's pride, envy's a good one,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
great
yeah,
example,
yeah, for
because
sure.
envy can be, oh man, I really love the way Jamie life. I love the way he goes about it, and he's a baller, and he's a minister, and all this, and that can kind of inspire me if I'm so. There's a great example. Is envy the problem? No, peel it back a layer. Am I being guided by love? Because if I'm being guided by love, then it's like I aspire to be more like Jamie, or I aspire to work harder to get here. But if envy goes awry, or like it's like the under the blanket of fear, now it's like, oh, I'm going to find fault with you. I'm going to make excuses. I'm going to judge you. It actually can be one of the most ugliest qualities in our repertoire as humans. But it can also be a catalyst.
For sure, right?
So I think don't you think it's
absolutely,
like that's where that sort of we're not always able to do that, I think, in real time. And I think it comes down, the more we practice it, the more every once in a while you're like, man, I got a few things right lately. I don't even have to look at it. I know I must have been on this side. Right?
And it's so much easier to see it in others than in ourselves. And maybe that goes back to that awareness and prayer and just self-reflection, those kinds of things.
There's a Scottish, I think it's Robbie Burns. Oh, the gift for God to give us to see ourselves as others see us. Is a famous, I don't even know, 500-year-old poem.
That's awesome.
But it's so true.
True, right?
Man, I taking your inventory is a piece of cake. I got you sussed out in 30 seconds, but I've been more than a half a century and I still haven't figured it all out for myself.
That's awesome.
Right?
Okay, this next one. Artistic expression is a reflection of the creative powers of the universe, where anything and everything is possible. Danny Wright. That's loaded. That's loaded. I love the idea that what I hear in this, and this may be a case of, I'm not sure this is what you intend or not, but this is what I hear.
Amazing.
Is that God is the creator, and the source of creativity then comes from God. And so when we can open up ourselves to that presence, whatever that looks like or feels like for each of us, that's where creativity can come from.
I think it's all about creativity. It's like we're co-creators. Obviously, God's, I hear a lot of people talk about manifesting as a more modern term.
Sure. Okay.
But same idea about where where our thoughts, where we dwell, where our heart dwells even, there's some truth in that. But the whole idea of, to me anyway, the creative process is an action. Is because it's not tangible yet. It's not been created yet. And I think what's neat about it, I get excited about this because it blows my mind. It's the whole idea of it's open to interpretation on both sides, how I receive it and how I express it. So like, I think a good example, we're talking a lot about sunrises, sunsets, songs about the sun. Google it sometimes. Sometimes, you find a million of them. Paintings, let's say, or drawings on the sun. The sun is the sun, regardless, But if you and I were to sit down now and draw a picture of the sun, it's going to look different. my interpretation of it might be a little bit different.
mhm.
It's open to interpretation. That's what I love, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
the idea of
Yeah, that's right.
creating something,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
my interpretation. And
That's
isn't
awesome.
it funny? You've seen the things where I've seen like the hidden camera things and they set up a faux art gallery.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah,
those?
yeah, yeah.
And it's like a 5-year-old and the person's like, well, this one, where they're analyzing the art, it's
Yeah.
fabulous because it's so true.
Yeah.
It's like me and you could both look at a spot in the wall
Yeah.
and see something different,
Yeah, for sure. Which is
So, I love it.
partly art, partly creation, partly God. It's bigger than one of us. But there's this great little story about a little girl who was drawing a picture one day. Mom comes along and says, "What are you drawing?" Picture of God. And mom says, "Well, no one knows what God looks like." And the little girl says, "Well, they will when I'm done."
That's amazing.
But I think that's kind of like what we're saying.
You
Yeah.
mentioned Bono
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
at Live 8. Remember the
Yeah, yeah.
concert after Live 8? Paul McCartney played with U2. And but Bono tells a great story. He says, we're about to walk out on stage, and Paul McCartney grabs us and says, hold on a sec, guys. Come here. Do you mind if I say a quick prayer for us?
Mm.
And he says, and we all were like, of course, being a music guy, he's like, we're being blessed by a Beatle. But he says what McCartney said was, God, we are your instruments.
Wow.
Use
Right on.
us for your good today.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And they
Yeah.
walk out on stage and do what they do
Exactly.
and try to make a positive contribution to the world.
Mm.
To me, if it just came down to who can move their fingers the fastest,
Mhm.
whose voice is the most soulful, or deep or whatever it is, it's not about that. There's intangibles
Mhm.
in it,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah,
And
for
it's
sure.
something to me that just oozes with a power greater than ourselves.
You can tell.
Power of love.
Yeah, you can tell when you're experiencing that, when someone is outside of themselves and there's something bigger than them happening.
Yeah, man.
And it's authentic, it's real, it's beautiful. There's a connection. Yeah, yeah. Let's do one more. Let's do one
Okay.
more good for today. Okay, let's go with your choice because you've got some things that you've tweeted out, sent out on social media through your inspired musings. Why don't you choose one that you? Yeah.
All right. What have we talked more about? Why don't you pick, James? Just
Yeah.
because,
Okay.
if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Well, let's go with this one then. Learning to love ourselves takes practice. Whenever we grow in awareness, we learn more about what makes us tick as individuals, and we begin to recognize our fears for what they are. Interesting. That's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Whenever we're able to accept ourselves as we are with this new awareness, we're practicing self-love. Whenever we're able to listen and strive to better understand others, we're practicing love. Whenever we're practicing love, we're healing on the inside, and that loving energy can't help but spill out to those around us. Practice love. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on.
Before we even talk about what it means, where did that come from? Like, what do you remember? Do you remember when you were
These
writing
kinds of things? Me and Dee and I joke. So this is from the other one that we didn't read was about love consciousness. Was in a part of a blog. I don't even know if you'd call it a blog. When you start getting into like 15 pages, you've lost people a page and a half in. Love the headline of your blog.
Not a book.
They're like, no pictures.
You need chapters
Next.
in this thing.
Yeah. So, Instagram isn't exactly the platform for that. They're like, where's Jay Shetty? Where'd it come from? I don't know. It comes from, it comes from praying, meditating.
For sure.
Having quiet moments of contemplation.
Yeah.
And then praying for inspiration.
Yeah.
And things just really, Jamie, it would be impossible for me to tell you, this line here that says loving energy can't help but spill out to those around us. I think when you're filling your cup constantly, when you're always looking around for a little more inspiration, when you're looking to share a little bit of inspiration, you just keep attracting more of it. So I have a few different, I don't know what the word is, platforms, I guess, or ways that I record it. So for me, I like to write it or type, sometimes it's a drawing. I think I spoke about this the first time I was here. I know Dee'll say, okay, we've got this happening Saturday. Why don't I take the kids or why don't I do blah, blah, blah. And then from 1 to 3, you can write some stuff for Living in Inspiration. literally, that just doesn't work for me. And she's like, you need to practice that. And it just doesn't work for me that way.
Okay.
Inspiration doesn't work. I can't manufacture it. You know, I'm sure I could come up with something, you know, but it feels forced. It's more me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm praying for inspiration, I'll be driving and I'll pull over and start typing. I'm going to be late for work today. I'm like, doing a voice sync so I don't forget it, you know, or I see something and I take a picture and then I write about it, you know. That's kind of how it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think everybody's different, you know, and how you experience that. Again, there's awareness, self-love awareness. No, this is how it works for me.
Yeah.
That's a self-loving thing for you to do. Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I do believe we have to make time.
Sure,
I think we've got to be intentional and make time. So not necessarily make time to write something, but make time for inspiration.
Sure.
And then allow for whatever comes from that.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, I think, for me, is allowing spirit to guide us.
Yeah.
You know, guide us where we need to go here.
Yeah.
Kind of neat, right?
For sure. For sure. No, well, this is beautiful. I love the piece about whenever we're able to listen and strive to better understand others, we're practicing love. I just found through the pandemic in particular, it was easy for our world to lose that. And there was lots of complexities and there was lots of differing views on things that people were really passionate about. And I think that's a beautiful message to we practice love when we take time to understand where somebody's coming from. Yeah.
And isn't it interesting too? So, you know, I could say this is original. I wrote it. But it's ancient wisdom that's been recycled a million times. It's almost like collective soul, you know, collective consciousness. Because talking about to better understand, that's right out of the prayer of St. Francis, right? You know, to put a little more emphasis or focus on understanding rather than being understood, you know? It all kind of comes back, doesn't it, to that?
Which just grounds it in an even deeper place, eh? Yeah.
I think so, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we can't not share this one. Let's end this one. This is awesome. I'll read it, and then if you want to share with the picture, because it's a beautiful.
Sure.
Actually, I should show the picture first, and then looks like Danny with one of his grandsons here. I think River says, "Hey, Grandpa, can you walk on water?" And Grandpa says, "No, only Jesus can walk on water." River says, "And geckos." Grandpa says, "True, Jesus and geckos."
It's just awesome.
That's awesome. That's so sweet. What a beautiful moment.
Yeah, out of the mouths of babes, right? You know, but I love it. I love even the picture. Like we're looking out and, you know, deep contemplation. And you had a point. You got me there. I'm like, that's true. I guess geckos can.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, Danny, thanks, man, for just your inspiration and sharing that with me and us today. It has been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me again, Jamie.
For sure.
Love it.
Yeah, cool. Let's pray. Yeah. Loving and gracious God, thank you. You are the source of inspiration always. You are the God of creation, and you are continuing to create. You involve us in that process. And it starts with things like awareness. It starts with knowing that we're loved and putting us in a place where we can be present and in the moment and pay attention, notice these things. So thank you for these beautiful messages that I know we've experienced in this conversation, and just may we continue to be open to being inspired and to share that inspiration with others, whether it be a beautiful image, a picture that we send to someone we love, whether it be a quote that we read. There's countless ways that you're working and inspiring and creating, and it really is a privilege to join you. Bless Danny. Thank you for the work that he does, the way that you work through him to bless so many, and just appreciate his writings and his work and his love, your love, that's at the heart of who he is and what he offers this world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks again, brother. Yeah.
Jamie, I feel like it wouldn't be right if I didn't do a Columbo one more thing.
Right,
that's kind of tradition now, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, P.S. I just wanted to say, a couple weeks ago, you sent me a picture of a sunrise, and you said, you know, you just shared a little bit of inspiration about how no effort of yours, you know, the sun still rose kind of thing, and how you were drinking in that moment.
Yeah,
a couple things. I just want to share is that that I would say to anybody watching, you know, you get a moment like that, you think about your experience in something like that. one, obviously drink it in,
Mm-hmm.
but even maybe more importantly, share it.
Yeah.
You sharing that with me, the ripple effect, changed the course of my day. You know, maybe
Awesome.
I'm not noticing that day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, it's just that little, little attitude adjustment or that little reminder. And that ripple effect, now I'm passing it on, passing it along, you know? So I think we don't have to be artists or experts on any of this. Just share a little bit of that inspiration that we experience. Man, you know, there's a ripple effect. We can make a difference.
Absolutely.
You know? We can make a positive contribution in the lives of others. Just by
doing that.
By sharing.
Blessed to be a blessing.
Right on, man. Thank you again.
Hey, thanks you, Paul.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to be with you. I love that quote. I mean, I loved all of those different quotes, and there was more. Believe it or not, we actually didn't go through them all because Danny had a great list. I love that he's collected these things that bring inspiration to him and to others. Really encourage you to follow Danny. Check out his website, livingininspiration.com. Tons of resources there. I really loved and appreciated the significance of that quote. Being real is more important than appearing good. Being real is more important than appearing good. Because isn't that true? Like, we can all get caught up in appearances and how we look, and pride and ego can all get wrapped up into that stuff. And I just think God brings a freedom that don't worry about all that stuff. Just be you, be the best you can be. God continues to grow us. I heard that in this conversation too, the commitment to growing and getting better at all that we do, including life itself. But just have this freedom to fall back into God's arms and recognize that we're valued, that we're significant just as we are. We don't have to prove our worth or value. That just comes from a God who loves us, a God who made us, a God who knows us, a God who continues to bless us as we bless others. So, hey friends, hope you take that one away, that you are good. God is good, and this life is meant to be a good one where we bring blessing to others. And the more we live like that, it's a powerful place to live inspired, to live loved, to be loved, to live out of that space and place as God wraps these incredible arms around us. It's a powerful place to live. We will be able to bring blessing to others. We'll be able to live lives that are purposeful every day. And hope you are excited by that vision. And may God bless you as you live into that vision. We're gonna have an amazing conversation next week. I just encourage you to check it out with Parveen and Carol, two people from our church who are starting a new ministry called an Affirming Life Group, just helping people, supporting people who are supporting the LGBTQ plus community, and lots for us to learn and grow from. And I think you'll really enjoy that one. I know for me, it was a really important conversation that I'm just so committed to living into together. So God bless you, friends. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Good News with Jamie Holtum, and I hope to see you again real soon.